Punk, you think men have more emotional intelligence than women?
Yes.
Explain. Please explain.
I just
Please
did.
explain.
You just helped me. If you're gonna say we get into an argument and men and women have tantrums, you just you have your tantrum outwardly at me, and I go have my tantrum somewhere else. That's me dealing with my emotions.
So in the next situation, do you figure out how to, not get so worked up and be as angry? Do you know how to problem solve so you don't get yourself in that space where you have to privately go punch a wall? It
depends on if you do whatever you did that made me mad again. Like, I can't dictate that. But if I'm sitting here like I want to go off on you, and instead of going off, nope, I'm gonna go in the back, I'm gonna go whatever, so it don't get worse where you already done threw your fucking tantrum.
So what you're saying is you don't have to figure out some kind of way to de-escalate.
I did de-escalate when you said I walked away and had my tantrum over there.
I don't mean like de-escalate the situation with me. I mean with yourself. Do you go in the back and you still huffing and puffing, or is the time after you had your little self tantrum, do you think, oh no, instead of blowing up, let me just take some calming deep breaths? And
I didn't blow up.
See, she just proved his point.
Oh, Mr. Tyrone. First gotta get freaky for you because you love the hoes.
I don't care if they don't like me. I came here to stunt. Yeah. I don't care if they don't.
What's good, everybody? If you're a first time viewer of my content or this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Shout out to this particular podcast. I love their podcast. I love it whenever they pop up on my platform. Save It for the Booth podcast. Shout out to y'all because y'all be bringing in the great conversations, and the man with the locks, shout out to him. I don't know what his name is at the time, but they always know who to bring on the platform to have these type of conversations. And for the most part, the person with the locks, the man with the locks, he be on point. So shout out to them. I want to make a video to specifically talk about emotional intelligence because I think it's something that's very important with black people in the way that we converse with one another in relationships in general. Or you just, if you're just somebody in general who, you weren't raised up in the best sort of light, you wasn't given the best example on how to communicate with your significant other, with friends, with associates, with people in general. So that's what this video is for. I went out of my way to go on Google and look up how do you know if somebody has emotional intelligence, and immediately they gave me 5 signs for you to notice. Number 1, they manage their emotions better than most. 2, they know themselves at their core. 3, they respond instead of react. 4, they put themselves in other people's shoes. I think that's empathy. And 5, they are the first to reach out after an argument. Now, the 5th one, it just depends. It varies because if it comes to an argument and, if you know that you didn't go about something the right way, right? And y'all mutually end off the conversation, whatever the case is, however that goes, and you go back. I've even seen LeBron James do that. He get in this heated conversation. He was on the sidelines, and before the game ends, he tells the man, "My fault." That's taking accountability. That's taking your words into consideration and backtracking and resolving a situation. Most men, we understand things from a logical perspective, right? So we're able to critique things without looking at it emotionally. We're able to give advice without looking at things emotionally. We're telling you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. When a man is given, certain situations, like if he's talking back and forth with his wife or talking back and forth with his significant other telling him how, I feel like you're not doing what I want you to do, or I'm not feeling this from you, or I feel like we're out of place somewhere. If he's able to sit there and listen and to hear her out all the way from beginning to end and then critique, he's not making faces, he's not interrupting her, that's somebody who has emotional intelligence. If I'm able to talk to somebody and tell them my scenario or tell them about a certain predicament, and you're able to sit there and hear me out without you trying to make me feel uncomfortable, without you trying to silence me, because women, sorry women, most women, when you talk to a woman about something, right, and you start to tell them about a certain issue or whatever the case is, they'll start rolling their eyes. They'll start looking the other way. They start giving you ugly faces, ugly looks. They start to interrupt you, like with the woman that you saw in the video. You know, it's ridiculous, the type of behavior that you have for some of these women, where they don't know how to converse with a man. They don't know how to have a back and forth mature conversation with a man. Most of these women don't have fathers. So they expect you to go back and forth with them like a woman, because they have never seen a functional or a healthy communication level between a man and a woman having a disagreement.
If most women had their father bold enough to talk to them, they will be very successful in their marriage and they'll be very happy people. Most women have never been taught by their parents, their fathers particularly. That's their biggest problem. They don't know who a man is. They think he's another woman.
So if you run across women who do not know how to control their emotions or have emotional intelligence, you might need to cut them off. Now, if they're willing to backtrack, if they're willing to learn, if they're willing to correct themselves, stuck it on by, okay? There's been times where I have had certain situations with certain women and they pop off, they lash out, they too much into their emotions. We call it hyper emotional, right? And so, or we call it in their feelings. So if, for an example, a woman catches an attitude, you backtrack. Okay, let's try this again, right? You give her the scenario on how to phrase the question next time. You give her the scenario on how to go about the situation next time. You give her the example and she will follow. If she is of her right mind, right? You might have a woman and you give her the phrase and scenario and don't talk to me like a little child. Don't talk to me. You can't. I go about how I said what I said. That woman, she for the streets. You got a good person who can hear you out. When you got a good person that can understand where you're coming from, that is very responsive and very, affectionate to how you go about things in certain situations, you got a good one on your hands. Altogether, even if that particular person, if you're with somebody or you yourself may not know how to, have emotional intelligence, it's something that we all got to practice along the way here and there. Whether the situation is big or small, we must learn how to control our emotions and have emotional intelligence. And we can start today. I have a little list right here for you to learn how to deal with your emotions intellectually and how to practice having your emotions. So you can start off with comment sections. If you're somebody that posts something and you see somebody, comment something that might be a little out of place, or they might ask a slick question, or they might come at you directly and insult you, there are certain ways to go about that situation. You could troll them. You could ignore it. You could respond to them and give them more understanding. Just try to clarify. Or, block them. We always love the block button. But let me know how you feel about this situation in the comment section below. Let me know how you personally feel about this. Make sure you like the video because it helps out with the algorithm of this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on those notifications so that you'll get the next video. And share this video with other people so we can get this message out and be on the rise. Alright? Till next time, I'm Tyrone. And I am